Hello and welcome to LittleBIGPhysics, a series in which we try to figure out the mechanics of the world of Little Big Planet from the ground up. Last time, we took a brief look at how things fall, and we found that we still have some work to do. Today, however, I want to go back a little bit further, back to where this series began: length. In the first episode, we devised a way to measure distances. We've used those principles that we discovered in every episode since then, but we never really directly measured any lengths except for Sackboy's height. How about we fix that? Today is going to be a bit different from the other episodes so far. We've already picked up all the tools we need, so we won't be designing anything special. We'll just sit back and let our prior discoveries do the work for us while we get answers to the questions we pose. Here's how I'll start us off. You know how if you open up the pause menu, there's a setting to overlay a grid on the world, which comes in 3 different sizes? How big are the spaces on that grid? If we know how big the grid spacings are, we can easily make blocks of exact dimensions, since anything we create snaps to that grid. The best part is that this is incredibly straightforward to test. Since anything we put in the world snaps to that grid, we can easily put a tag sensor and a tag exactly 1 grid space apart. Let's do that with a ruler we made in the first episode to measure Sackboy's height. We'll start with the biggest grid spacings and work our way down. Keep in mind that the signal display is in hundredths of lengths, and that the distance measured is from the top of the ruled paper on the bottom block to the bottom of the top block. Well, what do we find? In a spectacle of absolutely beautiful convenience, the big grid spacings are precisely 1's length, or Sackboy's exact height. This has wondrous implications, meaning that we can easily and cleanly convert between big grid spacings, lengths, which are equivalent to 1 big grid space, and the units of distance used by proximity sensors, which are equivalent to 1/10 of a length. Let's move on to the next smallest grid size, the medium grid. Just as conveniently, the medium grid spacings are exactly half a length in length. But what about the small spacings then? The small spacings are 1/4 of a length, meaning that each grid size is half the size of the next largest. 1's length, half its length, and 1/4 of its length. Now, if we ever want to place 2 objects a precise distance apart in the future, we can easily move them any multiple of 1/4 of a length apart using this grid. We'll have to break out our own tools for any other distance, but this will surely serve us well regardless. There's one more thing I want to measure though. How big is a single level in Little Big Planet? It's some distance wide and some distance tall, it seems rectangular, but we've never been given the exact numbers. It might occur to you that we can just count the number of grid spacings from one side to the other, and from the bottom to the top, but that might take a bit longer than we'd like. We can also figure this out using the usual tag and tag sensor combo, but if you recall from the first episode on length, we have to be wary of some strange behavior of tag sensors at long ranges. Thus, we'll have to be thoughtful about how we approach this. I'll put a tag sensor on one side of the level, as far to the left as I can. Then I'll put a tag on the other side, as far to the right as I can. It's tempting to just increase the maximum range of the sensor until it gives a positive reading, but because of the outer unknown region that we described in the first episode, that will actually result in a much larger reading than what we want. Instead, I'll increase both the maximum and the minimum ranges of the sensor together, so that the active range is just a small, accurate sliver. I hooked up the sensor to a display to make it easy to tell how close we are to the distance of the tag. What we end up getting is a number really close to 1300 lengths, within half of its length. Since it's possible that we introduce slight error through some mistake or another, like accidentally nudging one of the blocks, I'd be comfortable saying that the level is 1300 lengths wide for our purposes. What about the height of the level then? After dealing with some of the strange behavior that results from measuring such long distances, we get a distance right at 1910 lengths. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm actually surprised. I'd always thought that levels were wider than they are tall, not the other way around, but I don't know if I can explain why I thought that. If we ever want to double check, we can use other methods of measuring the width and height of a level, like having an object travel at a constant speed from one end to the other. Otherwise, those are our numbers, 1300 and 1910 lengths. I'm not sure why it's those numbers specifically, but that's the biggest area we can play with under normal circumstances, unless we go through the walls or the floor. Which, to be fair, hologram blocks can do, but I'm not sure if that would be useful, since they don't experience gravity or collisions. Anyways, it's nice to know now. Even if we didn't do any theorizing today, we still definitely learned something. By applying the principles we had already instructed, we got to learn something about the world that might prove useful to us later. Every now and then, I'll probably take a moment to step back and ask how we might apply our various conclusions like we did today, just to see what real use we can get out of them. For next time though, I have another investigation to another physical property planned, which will deepen our understanding of the mechanics of the Little Big Planet a little further. In any case, until next time, stay curious.